Before I contact football clubs, I have a certain short list that I always go through just to know what the club need or that it can give me advantage, can give me advantage of placing my players or working with them in future. So today video, I'm going to be running you guys through the list I always go through that makes me have opportunity or have the advantage to place my players in future. So the first thing I look always on my list, it's I analyze the club playing style. So what kind of playing style are they playing? Are they a 4-4-3? Are they a 4-3-3 team playing 4-3-3 positional team, or they play quick, or they need four backs inventing? I always go through that process because that's the first thing just to know the playing model. So when I look at that, I give a tick when I know what they're actually doing, and then I say, okay, this is the first thing. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to play this kind of model of football. Next, I look at the squad gaps because this is very important. So I look at aging players. How many aging players do they have? I put a tick on it because I know those players need replacement. So let's take, for example, if you have a player that is 36 years and is playing in the Premier League, you know he's like coming to an end for sure. So you're already looking at that guy. If you're a smart agent, you want to work with that club, you know that those are the places that will need replacement of those kind of players. I look at which players are out of contract, which players are on loan. The players who are out of contract, you know that, okay, you can do business there because probably it means that they might move away. They might move away and they need replacement. Let's take, for example, you have like players like, for example, if I look at a big club like Ibrahim Konate, if he was a top agent working with Liverpool, he knows that Liverpool will be looking at another central back for sure. So for those who have links or connections with Liverpool, will know that, okay, Liverpool will go into the market for a central back. That's a good example. But this night, if you take to your club, the clubs you are working for, you're working with, or you have connection with the sporting director, these are the player. This is how you analyze it. So you know already that the central back could be replaced for. So you look at that. There's a players whose contracts are running down. Then you look again at things like the players who are on loan. Are they coming back or they have no future at the club? You know that, okay, that one can also be, there's business to be done in that area. Then you also look at which position lacks depth. Let's say generally, let's take for example, in each position of a team, you want to have the first choice and then the backup player. So at a team, the backup player cannot be good. So you know already that you have an idea that they can also need strengthening there. So these are just the general thing that you look for as an agent, because as an agent, I always feel you have to know recruitment as better as as the head of recruitment or sporting director. This is what gives you more priority for them to work with you. So when you start contacting them, making them feel that you're almost like in line with them, it gives you an edge, or it gives you an edge over other agents who are just like spamming sporting directors or head of recruitment, scouts with just numerous players without really fixing problem. Because as an agent, your job, the best things that I've seen the top agents do is they solve problems for football clubs. They don't actually just give players for free and then agents, because clubs never sit somewhere waiting like, oh my God, I wish to sign, I just want to sign players, I want to sign players. They are always like, the way clubs function these days is they go into the market looking to plug the gaps of their squads. And now you as an agent, if you can provide solution to plug in those gaps. So when you're on your free time before transfer window, go scout, look for players and put on their agency. Now you start looking at the model that fits those players so that you can also use it to sell to clubs. Now, if you don't, of course, at the bigger, you don't have those network to go at the bigger clubs, but you have to start at, let's say, clubs in Slovakia, Denmark, all those kind of top clubs that you can leave, which are also still big clubs that you can leave from there to probably Premier League, La Liga, whatsoever. But use this analogy, you're going to get a lot of deals. And then the third thing, or the next thing I look, is study the recruitment strategy. Every club has its own model. So you have to go through it. You have to go through this process and looking at what the sporting director has been doing. What kind of players does he want to sign? That is very important. So if you step back always and don't try to give your players or spam players to sporting director, just look at the last 2 to 3 transfer window. You're going to find what they're trying to do. They might go in for techie players who are very technical because they want to play a ball position kind of game. They might go in for quick, pacey players because they are high energetic. So, which means any player you bring into their club or trying to propose to the club has to be something that goes with or aligns with them. So that is very important that you analyze these things. People don't need to tell you this, but only when you start doing this is going to develop your brain of how recruitment works. And as I said, as an agent, if you don't understand how recruitment works, you're always going to be left behind. Then the next thing we can also look at is always analyze the coach. Look at the coach himself. Because if they bring him to a club, or if he's there for quite some time, there's a way he wants to play. So if he's just coming new, then you have to look. They're hiring him based on what he has done at his past job. What was his model of? So go back to his last club. Look at what he played, how he played. So let's give an example. There's something now floating online that Liverpool wants to hire Raiola, the former club of Bournemouth. I mean, the former manager of Bournemouth. So just from the outside, you can feel that Liverpool are taking that manager because they want him to go high pace, energy football, the kind of football they want to play at Liverpool. So if you bring it now back, if you step backward and look at it at the clubs you want to work at, your clubs you're working in, you also try to analyze that what kind of football has the manager been playing. So that is also another tip that you can put also on your list and just take it. Now the next thing also, you understand the budget of the club. For you to understand the budget of a club, you always have to analyze their past signings and what they are trying to do. You need to always try to listen to also people. Of course, you can use the transfer market, but you need to also listen to pay attention to, try to network with people, journalists or whatsoever people, just to network with people. You have to build that connection with people because this is an industry that you have to network. But one thing, let's say if you're working in the Scandinavian market or other markets that are not like the Premier League or whatsoever big markets or super big markets, then you have to always try to look at their transfer strategy. What kind of players have they been signing? Players for 5, 10 millions, or have they been signing players for 1 million, whatsoever? Go through always those process, then you can know that this is how their transfer budget is always about. So those are things, because you don't want to propose a player to a club that the valuation of that player is too high. So you want to always meet the budget, because most often agent make this mistake. I've come across an agent that across a club that we spoke, and then the club was telling me about the valuation of a player that they value, that I wanted to give them. So normally, if I didn't know how their budget is, then probably I would have been like, hey, this is not going to work. So normally, you always have to analyze those things, put all those things together, so that you have an idea, so that nothing to surprise you in the market. Because the more you move faster, the more things becomes more easier. Because making a deal happen, we always try to complicate it a lot, but the reality is it's about relationship and just making things happen for each other, so that that player can start playing football. Many people try to overcomplicate it, but if you have been making deals or taking players to club, it doesn't need to be a top club somewhere that everything happens. That's the same way it happens at top club. That's the same way it happens at other club. But just that at the top clubs, there's more money involved. Yeah, is you have to just keep going before you get to that top to that level. So that's the list I put through. So if you need this list practically, just comment list, and I'm going to send you that list. I'm going to send you that list on a PDF file, so that when you are trying, if you're an agent, when you're trying to go through clubs, talk to clubs, there are things that you can run through it, so that at least you have an idea of what to do before talking to clubs. Okay. So that's it for this video. I'm Gaucho Brian, FIFA licensed agent. If you wish to build your network with clubs, you can book a consultation call with me below, and I'm going to help you do that. And also, if you wish to get more networking tips on how to keep growing as an agent, you can join my Skool community. There we have a call every Monday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern European time. We try to talk about how to contact clubs, build connection with sporting directors, all these kind of tips that gives agents an edge, and you know how to contact how you can know how to contact clubs and keep developing as an agent. That's it for this video, and I hope this helps you and you got a little bit of knowledge out of this. So talk to you in the next one. See you and bye for now. Cheers.